Okay, that was interesting.
Wait.
Oh, I'm exhausted. I'm just kidding. Okay.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know.
What even? Episode 2?
How?
All right, guys. So
Okay.
I have to
I
ask,
know.
did Taylor and Mitchell, or should we call him Michelle, drive anyone else insane this episode?
You know what? I
Don't even
can't.
get me started. She's either literally, I honestly, Taylor is either crying, thinking about crying, preparing to cry, or trying not to cry. I'm just saying, that's honestly what was going on. I'm like, I can't, this girl.
She came across just so ridiculously immature to me.
That's a good.
See, I just found that she just seemed like really immature, and the fact that it seems like such a big concern for her that her boyfriend is working with another female. I'm sorry, like, what is that? How old are we?
That's a relationship red flag, baby. Honestly, though, it really is. Like, she needs
this
to
isn't real world, guys.
chill.
This
I know.
is
I know.
reality
It's not
television.
It's not.
This isn't real world.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thoughts on Taylor
Yeah.
and Mitchell. Annoying.
Yeah, to answer your question.
I feel like Mitchell seemed really laser focused on the kids.
Yes. Yes.
Tying the shoes, which we already mentioned.
Yes.
Love that.
Helping with activities.
Yep.
I have here that he was engaging with the children. He felt like he understood the assignment.
He did. I
feel
agree
that.
with that completely. Meanwhile, Taylor was concerned about why he wasn't at the play date up at the pool and he was on the beach with the other co-nanny, which honestly, she was laser focused on her relationship instead of being focused on the kids.
Taylor was in a different show.
Taylor was in a different show.
In a different show.
I feel really, like, I honestly feel bad because I have nothing against her as a person.
No,
But
of
I
course
literally
not.
wrote here in the beginning of episode 2, Taylor needs therapy.
Oh.
And, like, I don't mean that in a bad way. Therapy is great, but, like, she's crying in every confessional talking about how hard this was or
No, I
how
actually do
difficult
agree
this
with that.
is. And it's clearly coming out in her work life and her personal life. Like, girl, when you're working with kids, you need to check your baggage at the door. Right? You need to come ready for the kids.
Yes.
And it just doesn't feel like she is in, like, the mental headspace, I guess, to be ready for the kids. I guess that's what I mean.
I do want to say one thing to that point about check your baggage at the door. I agree with you completely. But even more so than that, she just met this family.
Oh my gosh.
It's been a couple of days and she is already
so emotionally invested in everything.
And
creepy.
to her boss, to Nicola, you know, just like divulging her entire family
Michelle,
life. And,
the agency.
oh my gosh, like you just met these people. Now, I will say, like, as far as, again, checking your baggage, have there been times in my life with my nanny family over 7 years that I have had an emotional moment in my personal life that I've needed support and I've come in and been like, you know, maybe I went through a really bad breakup. So I come into work and I'm having a really hard time and maybe I have like one breakdown at work. Once you've been with a family for years and they know parts of your personal life, they know I was dating that person, they know the breakup is hard, that is different. That is like, my boss is like,
shouldn't take your personal life into your work life.
yes.
But yes, I 100%
After
understand.
years, right. You're human at the end of the day.
Yes.
You're a person. But
Yes.
she just met her 2 days.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to, like I said, when I said she needs therapy, it's very clear that Taylor just wants to be loved and to have someone to love. And I think that's why she got and gets so attached so quickly, is she clearly has so much love to give, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, we haven't seen
So
too
much love to give in
episode
the
2.
first 48 hours.
Okay, wait, I'm trying to be nice, okay? Because I have a lot of negative things to say, okay? So I'm trying to be at least one throw a bone, right? She does genuinely seem that if she had her head in the right place, she has so much love to give and she's fun and can have such good energy.
And the 2 little girls love.
Right, and
Those little girls
so
are
I feel like
adorable.
that's a perfect example of I wish we knew more about her background and like where she comes from, and also maybe that they had a little bit more of a true leader in their agency owner, because I feel like that would be a great opportunity for the agency owner or their lead, like as in Leah, to pull one of their nannies aside and be like, hey, because she even said, why are you so nervous? She didn't give her an actual pep talk though, right? Do you guys remember the scene I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So in this episode, there is a specific moment where Taylor is saying that she's nervous to go to this job. I'm curious, as an agency owner, if you had one of your nannies come to you, And I was like, Allie, I'm so worried. I want to make a good impression. Do you think you would have handled that conversation the same way Leah did, or would you have offered
would you have done,
actual advice?
Nothing that anything in this show I would have never handled it the same way. If a nanny came to me and said they're nervous, which we're all human, yes, like you get nervous, like you sympathize. It's like I shouldn't say like you're not treating this person like you're a psychologist, but you're walking them through their nerves. Like it's okay to be nervous. The family's nervous too. They want to make sure that they're putting their best foot forward. You want to make sure you're putting your best foot forward.
Right.
Ask really specific questions. Like tell them about your life. Tell them about you. Tell them about your portfolio.
Now pause. Do you see what's going on right here? She's giving actual input and advice and help to her nanny. Leah was like, you're going to need to pull it together.
You got this, girl.
That is completely not how it is. I love what you just said, and honestly, that is exactly what a nanny would need. I'm a nanny. I would need that in that moment if I was feeling that way.
You need to be supported.
And that's authentic feedback too, because you're giving action items that you can actually do.
You know, but the thing that I really like to do is I really like to hone in on someone's personality. So like if you tell me you're somebody who sees a need, feels a need, or you can tell me that you are somebody who you're really sensitive to things. Like I want to know, is this family going to be a good match with you? Is there going to be alignment? Are you going to have the same childcare philosophies as them? Is your parenting style very similar? You might say, hey, I'm not a parent, but what's your education? What's your background? Like, do you have an ECE? Like, what did you go to school and study? And if you tell me, hey, I don't have a degree, because most of our candidates start their nanny careers as like neighborhood babysitters or camp counselors or preschool teachers or part-time nannies in college, and you might not have a degree because maybe you were like, hey, I want to be a nanny, and a family offered me an amazing gig and I couldn't turn it down, and I actually did end up getting a good degree. Right. So what I like to do is I like to look at their profile. I like to look at the family profile, and I like to see what matches them. Like, why did we feel like this family aligned? So when someone tells me they're nervous, I'm like, hey, don't be nervous. But if you are nervous, it's completely understandable. Here's why you guys are a really great match together, and hone in on those things. Hone in on those dynamics.
Yes.
Chat with them about this. Chat with them about that. Like, you got it. I know you can do it. If you want something to talk about, show them your portfolio. Show them activities that you've done with kids. Show them your sensory bin. Show them how you have, taught a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old how to potty train when they were 2 years old. They had no interest in it. Or tell me, like, how you taught a kid how to read, or a child that was struggling to read. Show them how they got to 200 words within 1 year.
Why didn't we see any of this from Leah? You're affirming and you're giving actual helpful directives. Why didn't?
There's so much more to that, but
I know.
I think what you just said though goes back to the point of, we've touched on it already a bunch. Where's the childcare? Where's the resumes? Where's the professions? I know. And again, speaking specifically with Taylor, when we find out that she's hired for Nicola Wells, they mention that she was picked, right? I'm so curious what was on Taylor's resume, because we just talked about right now all these wonderful things that we would like as the agency to present to a family, to show them what makes an elite candidate elite.
What do you guys think makes an elite candidate elite? Is it wealth? Is it gifts? Is it travel?
Are you asking what makes a family? Are you asking what makes a family elite, or makes a nanny elite?
What makes a nanny elite? In your personal opinion, somebody who is titled an elite nanny, is it the family that she works with?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Okay, so what is it in your opinion?
If someone would be considered an elite nanny, it has nothing to do with their education or their background, even though that can play into it. To me, someone who is an elite nanny is someone who involves themselves in the industry, someone who has either a background or continuing education in early childhood education or a similar space, someone who focuses their time and their energy both in and outside of work in this passion. What else would I consider elite?
Longevity in a job?
I opened my mouth to literally say that. Longevity is huge. Like that's I think that's huge. How do you stay? Do you stay with your family for a long time? Like, are your contracts consistently, what's the word? Renewed. Like,
Absolutely.
longevity. Also, I do think qualifications is huge. I mean, what kinds of things, what do
I
you bring to the
think
table?
qualifications
Like,
are not huge. I just meant
Yeah.
that you don't, like you mentioned before, you don't need a degree. Like, I have a degree,
Okay.
and would I recommend that people have a degree in this field? In this day, I would, right?
Yeah, most
And
families want
I
it.
will say, though, I know that is a very polarizing issue right now, especially because in 2026, in a post-COVID world where a lot of people pivoted into childcare who may or may not have had experience here before.
it's valid.
I'm not saying, so that's why I don't like to say you must have a degree,
Yeah.
because I also feel like that could come from a place where not everyone was given the same opportunities that maybe the three of us had to get our education and to have that background in this field to jump off of.
That's true.
And there are still so many opportunities, especially as Pink Nannies helps, sponsor things like professional development and International Nanny Training Day and different nanny conferences. So there are still lots of ways for nannies in this industry. You don't have to have a degree to be qualified. And I'm sure
I
you
do
will
agree with that, actually.
And I guarantee you, though, you can think of other qualifications
Yes.
that they can have even
Yes.
without a degree, right? Like,
yes. Well, being like first aid certified,
Yes,
having
okay.
taken the classes for safety,
Newborn care specialist.
yep,
There's so many different things that you could have expertise in that you don't have a degree.
Yes.
You could
Exactly.
have many certifications.
But so I do think those are important, though. And if
Yes.
you don't have a degree, I do think it's even more important to get a lot of those qualifications,
Yes.
especially if you want to be working at this level of work.
And I think you only become elite if you have a very strong pocket of referrals. I think that you have to have
Referrals are so important.
referrals are beyond important. I think referrals are make or break. If you have a great qualification summary and you do have those certifications and whatnot, and then you have even just one super bad referral, chances are
yeah.
you're next. To be honest, I mean, wait, you tell me.
Of
Is that
course.
true? Like,
You could, yeah. I mean, references are huge. Now, we have a lot of families who won't give references personally. So you talk to their household manager, maybe their family assistant, or maybe it's their personal assistant. But you have to have somebody that directly ties into your job that can refer to how you performed in your career path, or how you performed in the position, that saw you actually take care of kids. Like, it can't be. Like, we wouldn't take a gardener that worked in a fully staffed home if no one else wanted to.
yeah.
Can they speak that you were there? Yes, but we don't qualify that as a reference.
Makes sense.
For sure.
That's just an added bonus.
Do you also feel like, does that say something unto itself too, if no one in the fully staffed home would be willing to give a reference?
Of course, that says everything.
Right? Like, what does that
course.
say unto itself
But
too?
then you have to have a situation where maybe a nanny was with the family for 3 years, or maybe they were with them for 6 or 7 years, and they found another job and they didn't want to work with that family, and now that family is in an uproar. They're so upset. They did an amazing job. So I think that your longevity plays a huge part in how happy that family was. So there's two sides to look at.
There's a lot
it,
of
right?
layers to that, actually.
There is. And so we have to just look at each specific role and say, okay, if the family didn't give them a good reference while they were with them for 6 years,
Right.
Like, they obviously did a good job.
Yes.
And then we just ask for different references, and we even share with a family that may be interested in them, hey, here's maybe a little bit of the situation. Like, mom and dad were really upset that candidate wasn't able to stay with them long term,
Right.
Or as long as they had wished. Here are 3 other references that can speak to
Yes,
them, and here's
yes.
a personal reference as well.
Yes.
So in addition to what you see on their resume, that somebody can verify that they were there for that length of period, there's also 4 other references that you can talk to.
I like that.
That's true.
It protects the nanny too.
Yeah,
Think about that. You're
because-
protecting the nanny, because that's not fair. If you end up leaving for a different opportunity after 6 years with a family who you loved, who you did an amazing job for, but life led you in this path for no fault of anyone's, I mean, truly, just because it did, and then you're penalized, that's actually really not fair.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah. And if we placed you, if we placed you in that role, we have checked in with the family multiple times
yeah.
a year to
Right.
just get that reference.
You think Leah's checking in with the families, like, hey, Mrs. G, how you doing?
Is she using the chopsticks right?
I will give Leah credit for one thing. We have, wanted to bring up, since we know the show did a lot of things wrong. Anytime we see them doing something right, we do want to bring it up. And to close out all this talk about referrals, especially in this world, I will say Leah did accurately talk about the fact that word of mouth and referrals are everything when you get to this point.
Yeah.
So I would at least just like to say, okay, we'll give you that. You can give that little one.
Yeah.
Because everything will come back.
Talk.
It really is true. And it's not like, they're in like some giant little club of, one percenters, but specifically how they mentioned, since it's in Ibiza, it's a very small island. It really, truly is.
Yep.
And they do all talk.
Yes. Remember that one, she said the island, if your secret's not out already, the island will do it for you.
And I was like, oh, I love that
remember
line.
that.
Simply because they do all talk. When you are at that status, they are going to talk, and word of mouth will get around. If it's bad word of mouth, well, then there you go. If it's good, same thing.
So just going into the industry itself. The industry is so small. Everyone, if you had a bad experience with a family and that family is hiring another nanny, chances are they might find out.
I know.
That new nanny might find out. If you had a bad experience with an agency, if an agency had a bad experience with a candidate, I hope that an agency isn't going to share with other agencies your bad experience, but I can't say it never happens because it absolutely does.
Exactly.
So I want to bring up a question to you guys that I thought about as we were talking just now. And we brought up the concept of elite nannies or just, being at a certain level in this career and in this industry. What do we think about nannies? Can they be also considered elite if they are not involved in any capacity in the industry? So when I say that, I mean
Continuous education?
whether it's continuing education, whether it's participating in things like the INA, going to conferences, going to that. And
I think that's a huge part of the industry.
okay, and so how do we
connected.
I find that interesting though, because I agree. However, when I first started talking about this show on socials, one of the biggest pushbacks from people that were like, who made you the say-all of the nanny industry?
Yeah.
And I'm not even joking, Hallie. I have a comment I'll show you when we're done filming on one of my original videos about this show coming out. And she literally was like, well, who decided you're in charge of the whole industry? And I basically was saying, I'm not trying to say that I am the only voice of the industry.
Right.
However, a lot of us who are in this industry and are trying to, move the needle forward are involved in things like the INA, like, the U.S. Nanny Association, going to conferences and participating. Exactly. And so it's not that other people I would consider they're not part of the industry, but it is very interesting that you are going to pick these people, claim they're elite, and we have never heard of them. And that's people like, what do you mean you've never heard of them?
Yeah, so we're so heavily involved into the industry itself.
Yes.
And so when you haven't heard of these candidates, look, are there candidates that we haven't heard of? Absolutely.
Of course, we don't know
of course.
everyone.
But for the last 17 years of my life, I've been involved in this industry.
Right.
So when you haven't heard of all of these people on the cast and they're considered elite, it does make you think, gosh, I can see 50% of them I've never heard of, but all of them,
Never
I don't know.
I know you hadn't even heard of one.
Exactly.
No, not
and
one.
I just do find that interesting.
No, I take that back, Leah. I think
you didn't know of her in the
I
industry,
didn't
right?
know of her in the industry. I've never met her in the industry.
Okay.
But when she posted the photo,
Right.
I think it was just a big talk.
Oh.
But
Interesting.
can somebody be elite and still not be participating in the industry? Yeah, they can.
Totally.
So, but then that goes back to, does making you elite mean an equal working for wealthy families?
Absolutely not.
So it's okay,
I
but
would
if
consider one of the closest nanny friends in my life an elite nanny, and she works for a typical middle American family, right? A typical American family, socioeconomically. And I would absolutely consider her one of the most elite nannies that I know. She is creating lesson plans. She's making sensory bins, okay?
Yeah.
She is,
This is what
curating
makes
the
you
home.
elite. See?
She
These are the
is
things.
going above, and I also want to say you do not have to go above and beyond
No,
outside
but-
the scope of your contract. I think it really just reminded me that you don't have to work
Yeah.
for one percenters to be elite. And it goes back to
No.
the majority of our industry doesn't even work in that
That's the
world.
main-
Almost like when we go back to talking about these conferences, if we're there, you think that people who work in this world are at these conferences? Not always. Not really.
so is
okay?
everybody at these conferences elite? No.
No, but
No. So
it goes back to just saying you could be anywhere,
Yeah.
and you can be elite, or you can be working up there, and you could be crap.
yeah,
I know.
yeah, 100%.
Also, like, you know, it just, I love what you just said about all the
gonna
time.
I'm sorry.
All the, you know, woo! She needs a breather.
Yeah, but then it also goes back to like an agency. As an agency, what makes you elite? Is it the families that come to you?
make you elite,
No.
Abby.
No, it's not the families who come to you that makes you elite.
Did you say we make you elite?
I know I said you make you elite.
Oh.
I thought
I
it was
wouldn't
a
say
we.
it's your
No, it's the quality of the
It
candidates.
is, it is.
100% your
Also,
candidates.
all jokes aside, I think you need to give yourself some credit too. It's the people behind the agency.
Oh, yeah.
You are the starting point right there, right? You're the foundation. So you are setting the tone for anything that moves forward with Pink Nannies. So right there off the bat, I feel like anyone in our industry, and if you didn't know, you should know now, like that Pink Nannies is such a great place to go, because at the end of the day, I personally feel that you are actually nanny first. And
Oh, 100%.
and I
She
feel like
is.
there are so many
You are.
and there's nothing wrong or right, you know, but I personally, as a career nanny, love to see an agency that puts their nannies above other things. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
That's because I was a nanny. And
See,
I
that is
wasn't.
why.
And
I-
this is why you
yeah.
are such a well-placed person in this industry, and to be taking the role of the ownership of these conversations.
Yeah, and so I think that when you come from a place of like being in this industry for almost 2 decades as a career nanny, I'm also a newborn care specialist, you see it firsthand. So when families call you and they're like, here's what we expect, here's what we won't accept, here's what we want, here's our desires, our needs, blah, 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 right? They're sharing with me everything that they desire. I'm like, okay, great. But then I want to know from the nanny, like, what's going to make you stay long term in this family's life? Like, what's your communication style? What's your personality type? Like, what do you do on the weekends? Like, I want to know about you. I don't just want to know your resume. I don't want to say, oh, how long were you with the Smith family? Because as much as I love that, that's not what's going to get you the job, is how long you're with that Smith family. Like, I want to know internally what's going to make you align with this family. How can we find you the best fit? And how can me as an agency owner, but also my team behind me, really hone in on the specifics that is going to make you thrive.
And the matchup.
Yeah, it's like there's so much that goes into it. And I think that's a discussion for another topic.
That'll have to be a whole nother episode, I think.
100%.
Because I personally would be very interested, and I, at the risk of speaking for Hallie, I feel like we would all be interested in how exactly, from the agency perspective, that matchup goes. Because at least so far in the series, we haven't really seen that from Leah. And
Not at all.
as someone in this industry, I was actually hoping that maybe we could even learn a little something ourselves. And I'm like, you know what, maybe Leah will show us how an agency is run. And
There's nothing to learn.
She's not an agency owner. There's
so
no leadership
maybe
there.
in the future we could hear from you.
I would
though.
love to.
I feel like we could talk like
That's true,
multiple
actually.
episodes just on how the agency takes the time and what goes behind matching the right nanny with the right family.
It's all about alignment. Like 100% it's alignment.
Alignment, Leah. You got to align your families. She's not aligning them.
Yeah.
She's not aligning anything except the script.